I want to get to our next guest here. Now, this guy is, he's been on my radio show this week. He's been on my radio show many times, actually. And the Wall Street Journal rated him the #1 realtor in San Diego. He did 300 and something transactions last year. He's very well known. We've become great friends, and it's an honor to have him in the studio. So let's welcome Kurt Wannebo. I'll do the fist pound only because I want to keep you healthy.
Okay.
But you're in the hot seat.
All right.
Nice play there. All right, man. So what's going on? So you're out of Carmel Valley. We know that, but let's reintroduce you to the audience. What's going on in the Carmel Valley market?
Oh, well, you know, it's we're getting into the seasonal time of the year.
Yep.
And so this is a very family-centric zip code, not only Carmel Valley, but some of the other areas that are encompassed in that zip code. So a lot of people are starting to hunker down or deciding whether or not they really want to put their homes on the market, et cetera. But the good thing about this time of the year, which is really interesting that sellers always ask me is it a bad time to put your home on the market during the holiday season? And my response to that is actually no, because of the fact that, one, if you are putting your home on the market, many times what you'll find is that the inventory is a lot lower, because there isn't as much competition.
Yeah, with Justin, he was speaking to the buyer side, so this is actually a nice correlation to the other side of the equation,
right?
Which is listing. So it still makes sense at the end of the year.
Right, you can, and then the other thing is that the buyers that are out there looking to purchase and writing offers during this time of the year are actually probably a lot more serious than the buyers that are looking. That are looking during the spring or the summer months. There are a lot of people who are sometimes looky-loos or just want to see what's out there or test the market, etc. So what I find is that a lot of the transactions that occur during the holiday season are much more solid, much more structured. You know, during the summertime, you might have an escrow going on where a buyer's considering buying a property, but then another one pops up across the street and they may jump ship to that one. So, you know, it doesn't always mean while there's less activity at times, you know, it can be a lot more solid deals, solid buyers, and solid and committed sellers as well.
Even if there's less activity though, I mean, your responsibility as a listing agent is to represent the best interest of the seller. Even if there's less activity, you might get a more serious buyer, but you don't have to accept the offer.
Absolutely not.
So you keep it out there, you aggressively market it, and you've got some incredible marketing strategies. And you see what happens. You fish and you see what bites. You might land a big one and you might not.
Yeah, sometimes people feel like if I put my home on the market, especially at a certain price, and they receive an offer at that price, that they're legally bound to go ahead and sell their property or accept the offer, which actually isn't true. They have to accept the offer from the buyer and decide to commit to go down that process of actually selling it and doing the escrow process.
Got a lot of really good websites and content to pull up for you. The first thing I wanted to get into, and I don't want to spend much time on the numbers. You know, I don't want to bore people. If you want to know numbers, Kurt knows them as well as anyone. Go to brokerkurt.com. But what's really interesting here is here's a Carmel Valley report. You actually have developed a report specific to Carmel Valley. So this website, 92130 marketupdate.com.
Right.
If people want to learn any of the stats of the market you're in, now you also have a big team. You cover all of San Diego, correct?
Right.
Carmel Valley is just where you hang your hat.
Right, and we are actually building out all of the communities to have the same data.
So you can see a lot of these trends. This tells a story.
Any type of trends or data that people might be interested in regards to median price or the sales that are occurring, what's on the market, how many are making price reductions, et cetera, you can do that. And then there's also newsletters that you can download from there, which has all of our data of the specialized or focalized little areas in each pocket of the zip code.
A lot of great interactive information. I mean, pitfalls of selling your home. Why do you sell so many homes? How fast can you sell my home? Can I sell my property for higher than the listing price? So, I mean, very interactive. Oh, there we are again.
Yeah.
A past interview from the American Dream. Let's pull this back up here. Now, there's an article on CNN. I'm going to pull this up as well. This is this week. I think you know what I'm going to reference here, where you just came out of a market where inventory was so low, right? So I'm selling my house. I'm hearing about my neighbor had 20, 30 different offers. Here is a article from CNN. Now, we know the media gets this stuff wrong, and we know how much misinformation. So for sale by owner, also called FSBOs, homeowners ditching brokers. Right. So the argument that, I don't know if they're necessarily making the argument, but they're basically discussing the fact that people might say, what is the value of having a realtor if I'm getting all of these offers? Now, you and I both know the offers have slowed down tremendously, so that changes the game tremendously. But go ahead and speak to this article, because I know a lot of people think this way. You look at 6 points on a deal, call it $1 million deal, talking about what, 60 grand? Is that the right math here? Yeah.
Right. Well, so in that article, it references and interviews a couple of sellers, and they basically, these opinions always ebb and flow with the market. And in this particular case, it referenced some sellers who were saying, I can put my home on the market, or even if I did, I used an agent, they put it on the market within 2 days. I had 10 offers, and I was able to sell my home very quickly. And with our price point, that equated out to about $20,000 in commission. Yeah. And I don't really know if what the agent did for me was worth $20,000. Did I get my value?
You can see the argument.
Right, especially when things like this are hot, etc.
Yep.
And so from there, what happens is, consumers sometimes lose or don't always understand what the value is. It's not always about getting the offer. And so one thing that I'm always continuously and striving to do is bring value to clients. And I always put myself in their eyes to say, what would be of value to consumers? What would they like to see? And so actually, we actually have a new program that we're going to be launching here in about 2 weeks. We've actually been beta testing this for the past six months, and it's been working tremendously well.
Tell us about the program.
So what the program is basically if you're a seller and you're considering putting your home on the market, and this might be ideal during the holiday season, okay? But you don't want to put it on the market. You don't want to list it. You don't want to have people coming through it. You don't want to have a bunch of open houses. But you would entertain an offer if you could reach a certain price. What we've done
so you're feeling out the market. It's what's my number?
Right.
You have a number in your head that I wouldn't sell it for what I think it'd go for, but if I got this much, that's a game changer.
So if you're a seller and you say, I would sell my home for this price, what we will actually do is we won't list your home, but we will go out and we will find a buyer for your home. And if we do and write an offer, we don't charge any commissions to the seller to do so. Okay.
So you're going to go find the buyer, bring the buyer in, not charge the seller.
Correct.
But the buyer would obviously, there'd be the 3 points on that side.
Right.
But basically, you're saving them half the commission, which is thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Now, I remember you mentioned on my radio show this week that you have about 100 plus buyers that are in motion right now. So I would imagine that you have a pool of buyers that you can dip into.
Right.
So I don't know if too many people can match the offer is the point I think I'm getting to here. Too many agents.
Yeah, a lot of agents can't do what I'm offering, and that simply is because I do have a large team. I have 5 buyer agents on my team that at any given time are typically talking to about 20 to 40 buyers specifically in the zip code that we're working in and focusing and offering this program in. And so, if a seller says, hey, I'd love to sell at this price, we go to our pool of buyers. We're constantly marketing for more buyers. We aggressively go out to find buyers in this community and zip code, and we present the property to them.
Do you have to put the house on the market or anything like that? Okay, this is big because I've never even heard this. Yeah. Okay, so, and you even explained this to me on the radio show, and it didn't sink in like this.
Right.
So if you are in a house right now, and you have an idea of what the value is, but maybe you don't want to sell because you're not going to get what you want or you like the home, but maybe there's that number that let's try it out. Let's see what we can do. If I'm hearing this correctly, you don't have to put the thing on the market. You don't have to put signs in the yard or in the MLS. You don't have to have an open house, have people coming through your house during the holiday season. Kurt will actually work to bring a buyer to your property at that number and connect the dots.
Right, and what's nice is the sellers don't have to sign any paperwork. There's no obligation. All they have to do is tell us their property address and their price, and then we go to our pool of buyers and try to match them up. Now, sometimes we have a buyer right away that we might be able to bring by.
Yep.
Sometimes it may not be for 2 weeks or 30 days.
And it depends how realistic the price is. Someone's selling a $600,000 house, they're like, Kurt, I want a $2 million offer.
Yeah, at that point, I might not work real hard because that might not.
I'll get back to you.
But if they're somewhat realistic, then we work very hard because we do have this pool of buyers that we're working with constantly.
Yep.
And we've actually structured a couple deals already over the past couple of months where we brought the buyer. And what's also nice about this is we actually charge the commission to the buyers. We don't even charge the seller for the buyer side of the commission.
Wow.
So we have an agreement with our buyers. They sign an agreement with us. If we find you a home that's not on the market, that meets your expectations, then you'll pay us a commission. So nothing out of pocket for the sellers in respect to that. And what's nice, it's an added value to our buyers. And what this really stemmed from in this program was buyers didn't have inventory. So we went out there and tried to create the inventory for them. We went to talk to homeowners. We door knocked on their doors. We sent them mailers. We called them up and said, have you had any thoughts of selling? And if they said, well, yeah, maybe, what's your price? And we'll see if we can find you a buyer.
Here's what I want people to do. I want them to, they can go to your site, they can go to my site. We were just talking about craigsewing.com. If you go to the contact form, and you and I didn't pre-plan this. I mean, I'm learning as we go. I mean, you talked about it on the radio show, but okay, so if you go to craigsewing.com and name, email, just put in the box what you'd be willing to sell your house for. Why not test it out? If he's got 100 plus buyers that are in the market trying to get offers accepted, you might have someone that's a perfect fit for you to sell your home. And oh man, what a great opportunity to move up. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. Kurt, I wanted to real quickly run a little bit low on time here, but Zillow. There's a lot of controversy around Zillow. People use it. It's a great site to drive and get information on property values, which they can have some inaccuracy. So I have it here. So if we look, not only does Zillow do actual prices, but now they're starting to list how many transactions that a agent has. Now I'm looking, you're on here. You have more than anyone else on here, not surprised. But what do you think of that?
Well, it's interesting. What Zillow's doing is starting to pull back the curtain a little bit in respect to, an agent's true history and how much experience they actually have. They started this process.
That's a bold move.
I think so. I mean, they started this process years ago when they put up reviews where they would allow people to rate and review their real estate agent. But now they're actually starting to reveal how many transactions they've actually done, which properties, how much they sold them for, what areas they've worked at.
Yeah, if they were in downtown and you're in Carmel Valley, there might be a disconnect there. These things are important.
And so what this is really important for with consumers is that, once again, referring back to that article, if they're not necessarily always seeing value between two different agents, they can now compare them apples to apples to see, okay, has this agent sold any properties, one or two, versus this other person who sold 400 or 500 properties and might be a little bit more experienced, might be able to get me a higher price for my home.
Catch a lot of agents with their pants down. Yeah, I mean, because truthfully, we talked about this on the show. There's a lot of people that get into the business, they don't take it that seriously, or they pretend to take it seriously. But the reality is the barrier of entry to getting into real estate isn't necessarily that complicated. To be at the level you're at is obviously top of the food chain. And all the guys that come on the show, to be great at it is a whole different ball game. It's a career. It's something these guys have done for years, closed hundreds, if not thousands of transactions. Kurt, great information. I knew today would be good with you. I appreciate you coming in here. If anyone wants to go to brokerkurt.com, learn more. He's got a free consultation form here that you can check out. I would certainly take him up on the offer where if you wanted to list your house, pick the number. You don't actually have to list it. You don't even have to pay a commission. He will bring a buyer to you. I've never even heard of that before. So good stuff, Kurt. Appreciate you coming in.